Okay, Unit 5 test review. So question 1, Darren recorded the height of a tree he planted. Yes, yes, yes. They give us a table. Based on this information, which graph represents the height of the tree each year? So usually when we see a table, we're finding the slope of it. On this one, we're actually just going to match which one goes with the table. So on A, we want to see when the years and the height match up. So on A, my years, I can't really tell where 1 is, but I can see where 8 is. So where 8 is on years, it should be at 24 in height. So that would be like way up here. Okay, so my line does not go through 24. On B, where 1 year is, it should be crossing 8 feet. So let's look at 1, and it should be crossing at 8, and it does not do that, so it cannot be B. On C, 1 year should be crossing about at 8. That one seems to be working. Let's check D just to make sure. In 1 year, it should be crossing at. Okay, so that one doesn't work. C works. Number 2, which statement is a correct interpretation of the slope of the line in the graph? So A, $4 per hour, B, 4 hours per dollar, C, 10 hours per dollar, D, $10 per hour. First of all, anytime it says hours per dollar, so B is saying you worked 4 hours per $1. That's not good. Do not work 4 hours for $1. C says 10 hours for $1. No, we always want to look at, it needs to say dollars per hour is what we need to see. So then we look at our graph and let's look at where 1 hour is and where the line kind of falls. So it's about halfway up to 20. So which is closer to that? Which is closer to halfway to 20? 10 or 4? Should be D. 3, which equation represents the data in the graph? Again, on this one, we're probably going to have to find a point. And I think there's a point here. If you wanted to, you could do the slope formula. But the slope formula is just interpreting the change of y over the change of x. So you're looking at y over x. So my y at that specific point is 6. And my x is 1. So it should just be 6. So 6x. Number 4, Lisa's school requires each student to earn 85 hours of community service each year, so that's a total. Lisa has already earned 29 hours. She already has that. She plans to earn the remainder of her hours by volunteering at a nursing home if she spends 4 hours at the nursing home per visit. There's a word that tells you that's where your variable should go. Which equation represents the number of visits? Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so if I know that the 4 hours goes with the variable because that's per visit, I need to find this in one of those equations. So A doesn't work because they have the variable by itself. B works because it has 4 next to the variable. C does not work because that's 29 next to the variable. And D does not work because they have the variable with 4, but that's not how we write that. That's not how we would write per visit. So the only one that would make sense would be B. 5, a car traveled 192 miles and used 8 gallons of gas. If the same car traveled 1,224 miles at the same rate, how many gallons, that's what we don't know, of gas would be used? So this is a proportion we're setting up. Remember, when you set these up, you have to set it up the same way all the way through. So in the first sentence, 192 and 8 go together. So I'm going to put 192 on top because that's how I labeled it on this side, is miles. 8 goes on the bottom because that's my gallons. Then on the other side, I've got to put the 1,224 because that's talking about miles. So I'm keeping miles on top all the way across. How many gallons? That's what I don't know. So that's where my X is going to go. This is when we cross multiply the numbers we have and divide by the lonely guy. So when we cross multiply, we get 97, 92, divide by the lonely guy, and you should get 51, so C. 6, a soda manufacturing plant manufactures 15,000 bottles of soda in a 6-hour shift. The soda produced varies directly with the hours worked. So when you see a sentence like that, that's telling you how to write the proportion, how to write the fraction. So that means soda varies directly, so it goes on top of hours. So 15,000 bottles in 6 hours. What's the constant of proportionality? So the constant means per 1. So how many is produced in 1 hour? So we're just going to divide. So 15,000 divided by 6 means that they can make 2,500 in 1 hour. So B is out because that's crazy. 90,000, that makes no sense. That would be, if you can make this many in 6 hours, it wouldn't make sense to make more in 1 hour. This one is out. So 2,500, does that represent the number of hours needed to produce 1 bottle or the number of bottles produced per hour? Think about which makes the most sense. Do you need 2,500 hours to make 1 bottle or 1 hour to make 2,500 bottles? Based on the table, which one is true? There's 2 ways that you can do this. The way that you have practiced in class is using the slope and working your way backwards to 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0, because we want to see what the y value is. If the y value gets to 0, then it's proportional. If it does not, then it's not proportional. So to subtract over here, we have to figure out what the slope is. So I'm going to do that really quick. So I'm going to subtract over here. Okay, so the slope on table A is 3, so I'm going to just keep subtracting backwards by 3. So 13 minus 3, oh my goodness, is 10. I can remember. And I'm going to keep subtracting that slope until I match up with 0. I'm going to turn this off. Same thing on the other side. My slope on table B is 6, so I'm going to subtract backwards until I match up with 0. Okay, so it looks like on table A, I get back to 1 on the y side, which means that's not proportional because I have 0, 1. And then on table B, I make it all the way back to 0, 0. So that means table B would be proportional. There's another way you can do this. You can actually just divide y by x, but that's not how you have learned it, so we're not even going to talk about that. Actually, we are going to talk about that because that's actually really easy to do. Okay, so if you divide on table A, if you divide 13 by 4, so say we divide 13 by 4, we get 3.25. 16 divided by 5 is 3.2. 19 divided by 6 is 3.16. And 22 divided by 7 is 3.14, okay? See how those are all different numbers? Now look at table B. If I divide 18 by 3, so my y by x, I get 6. 24 divided by 4 is 6. 30 divided by 5 is 6. 36 divided by 6 is 6. They're all the same number, okay? That's a quick way to see that this side is proportional and this is not proportional. We haven't talked about that in class, but that's one way to do it. So I need to find that answer in the answer choices.
All 8th graders, you should be in your second
Table B
class.
is proportional.
7th grade students. 7th grade students be in your classroom, and if not, you're targeted.
Number 8, function. We're just looking at the x values. We're going to erase or mark out all the y values. Don't need them. Only looking at x values. Boop, 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 boop. And it says does not show a function. So 5, 6, 7, 8, none of those repeat, so that is a function. 4, 8, 12, 16, that's a function because none of those repeated. 6, 7, 8, 6. 2, 4, 6, 8. So C does not work because we had 2 6 values repeat. Which relationship is an example of a proportional relationship? So if it's an equation, we're looking for one number. A gym membership has a $65 registration fee and $35 per month. That's got 2 numbers, not proportional. B, a rental car costs $65 per day. That has 1 number, so maybe. John earns $30 for each lawn he mows plus a $6 tip, 2 numbers. The cell phone bill is $58 plus 5 cents for each call over 80 minutes. Which graph does not represent a proportional relationship? So which one does not go through the origin? Which does not show y as a function of x? So we've got -6, -7, -8, -9, -10, -11. None of those x values repeated, so that is a function. We're looking for one that is not a function. On B, every arrow goes to just one value over here, or there's only one arrow coming out of each x value. So the table, if we wrote a table out, would look like this. Okay, none of those x values repeat. So that is a function. We're looking for one that doesn't work. Am I crazy? Hold on. From what I can tell, this looks like not a function because it crosses in 2 places, but then also on this table, and maybe I'm not seeing this correctly, but that looks like 2 1s. So I'm unsure about D, but I for sure know that this is not a function because it crosses our vertical line that we draw twice. Which table represents y as a function of x? So remember, we only need the x values to look at for function. So which one is a function? So I'm going to look at A. I've got 2, 3, 4, 3. I've got 2 3s that repeat, so it can't be A. B, I've got 2 -3s, so it can't be B. Then on C, I don't see any that repeat, so that one seems good, just to double check. Okay, on D, I have 2 8s that repeat, so that can't be it. On number 13, Jamie has started working at a part-time job to save money for college. She'll graduate from high school in 35 months. She plans to invest $475 each month in an interest-bearing savings account. So that means more money. Okay, you're earning more money if it's interest-bearing. Does not charge a fee as long as there's a minimum of $300. We don't really need to know any of that. She does not plan to withdraw any money until she graduates from high school. Which statement best describes the amount of money she'll have when she graduates? Okay, so if you just wanted to see how much money it would be regardless of interest, you would say $475 times 35 months, right? Because that's how many months she's putting money in, and that's how much money she's putting in. Because there's interest, that means she's earning more money, okay? So she's going to have whatever she put in, because that's what she's putting in over those 35 months, plus however much interest she earned. So it's not going to be equal because of the interest. It will be more. C says there's no way to predict. That's not true. It's money and it's math. There's a definite way to predict it. D, the account will be less. No, there's no way that you're putting money in and you have interest accruing and you have less money. That's not good. The account will be more. It'll always be more if there's interest. Which statement best describes the effect of investing small amounts of money regularly? Small amounts of money invested regularly grow over time. True. Small amounts of money invested regularly decrease over time. That's not true. Small amounts of money invested regularly will never equal the value of investing larger amounts of money irregularly. That's not true. Small amounts of money invested regularly will never equal the value of investing one large lump sum. Also not true. Number 15, Mary is planning to attend a private university after she graduates from high school in 2 years. She is devising a plan to save money each month to help with the expenses of attending the university. The cost of attending the private university for 1 year is $22,300. Her family has promised to contribute $14,500 each year she is in school. Which plan shows the minimum amount of money Mary must contribute to her savings to have enough money to pay for her first year of tuition? This question is actually not on your test, but it's good to know how to do it anyway. Okay, so this is the cost of her tuition, right? That's how much it costs for the year. Her family's going to pay this much. Okay, so we're going to subtract that because we need to know how much she's going to actually pay. She's not going to pay the whole total because her parents already said they were going to pay $14,000. Okay, so we're left with $7,800. The answer choices all say per month for the next 2 years. So we're splitting this up into 2 years, but in months. So if each year has 12 months, then 2 years would have 24 months. So we're dividing that 7,800 by 24, which should be this guy. 16, this in scientific notation. I'm going to rewrite it. Oh, no, I'm just going to zoom way in. Okay. Remember, your decimal goes after the first non-zero, so that would be 7. And then I'm going to count backwards to my old decimal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my exponent should be 5. And it should be negative, since for 1, I counted to the left, and 2, it's a tiny number. It starts with a whole bunch of zeros, so A. Which of the following accurately verifies the intersection point that satisfies both equations? So, intersection. That's what we need to see. So, I see that it crosses right here. That point would be at -1, -5.
Hey, teachers, just want to talk with you a little bit. We do have attendance normally during our second period, but normally second
The
period is
2 lines
during our ADA
graphed.
time.
Okay, number 19. The total cost of attending a state university is $14,800 for the first year. Students' grandparents will pay a quarter of this cost. Students' grandparents will pay a quarter of this cost. Quarter, remember, means 4. So we're going to divide that by 4. So 14,800 divided by 4 is 3,700. So the grandparents are paying $3,700. And an athletic scholarship will pay another $7,000. So scholarships just like they give you money. So both of these things are free money. That's money that's going towards the total that she doesn't have to pay. Or he. Could be a he. 7,000. So we're going to add those two dollar amounts together to see what we can take off of the first year of college. So the tuition minus what those two together were, which was 10,700. So 14,800 minus 10,700, and I get $4,100. Okay, so that's what's left for them to pay. That's all she has to pay, $4,100. And we're looking for the amount closest to the minimum that she'll need to save every month in order to pay off the remaining costs at the end of 12 months. So we're splitting this up into 12 months, just divided by 12. 20, scientific notation. First decimal goes after the first non-zero, so that would be after 5. So 5.22. So I can get rid of A because it doesn't have the correct decimal. I can get rid of B because it doesn't have the correct decimal number at first. And then count all the way to the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So D would have to be correct.